How do you spot a scam and how do you know when something that you received is legitimate and not? I'm going to walk you through an actual email that one of my clients received. All the personal stuff is redacted from it. I'm going to show you this scam email and show you things that you can watch out for, especially around tax time. It is so common to get emails that look legitimate. They look like they're coming from the IRS or somebody that is maybe sending you information. They may even look like they're coming from your CPA, but there's some telltale signs whenever something is just not right. And if ever you don't get the warm fuzzies about an email that you received, trust your instinct. It always makes more sense to contact the person or the company directly using a means of communication that you trust rather than clicking any links or downloading any attachments from an email that you're just not sure is legitimate. So I'm going to walk you through this email and show you the things that I saw that made me pause and say, I'm pretty sure this is a scam. So this is the email, and you can see that the subject line was urgent 1099 NEC requires your immediate signature. And you come over to the actual email and it's got the DocuSign logo. It says urgent 1099 stuff. It shows who it came from, Summit Pay Accounting Group at payroll@summitpay-accounting.com. That's supposedly who's sending it. But if you look back to the actual sender of the email, that's not who it came from. It came from Crosstrail News at shaw.ca. So that was thing one that kind of indicated maybe there's something wrong here. But usually it's actually something in the email itself that tips me off before I go and check the email address. Let's go through and see what this says. Hello there. So first off, this doesn't have the client's name, even though it's supposedly like a tax document that they need to sign. It seems like it would have their name in there. So it's hello there. Group has issued a Form 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation, for the 2025 tax year that requires your electronic signature to finalize IRS filing. All right, that doesn't make sense. 1099 NEC is a form that a company fills out to report to you how much they paid you. And they don't have to have your signature to finalize that. They create the form and then they send it to you, say, hey, you got paid this much money. So it doesn't make sense to require a signature for that. And also doesn't even make sense to require a signature to receive the 1099 NEC. Next, it says, due to updated IRS regulations, all 1099 NEC forms must be acknowledged and signed within 7 calendar days of receipt. No, that makes zero sense whatsoever. There is no such IRS regulation. They're putting the word updated to make it seem like this is something new, and this is why maybe you haven't had to do this in the past. And even if there was some sort of IRS regulation on timing, it wouldn't make sense to only give you 7 calendar days. So if you ever see something about an IRS regulation and having to do things immediately, feel free to Google those because you'll quickly find there's no such regulation. Failure to sign may result in automatic withholding adjustments or delays in year-end tax documentation. Again, that doesn't make sense. You don't have to sign to get a 1099 NEC. Also, with this specific request, 1099s were due back in like January and February. There's no reason that in May of 2026, you're just now receiving this from somebody who's supposedly so diligent about deadlines and they're submitting this, 4 months late? It goes on to say action required by, but then there's nothing. Like, I guess that's supposed to be a date or a name, and obviously it was left off. So that's an indication that this is just some robo scam. Your signature is needed to confirm your reported income before Summit Pay submits to the IRS. Delays may affect tax return processing. That's not a thing that happens. You don't have to confirm your reported income before they file the 1099s. That's just something that they do. You don't confirm that. Then there's this. It's going to probably be a link or an attachment. And then there's this. Now, it looked to me like they actually gave a DocuSign address. I don't know off the top of my head if it's DocuSign.net or DocuSign.com. I have a feeling it's DocuSign.com, not .net, but I would never put this link in the browser. I would never click this link. I wouldn't click anything else in here either. You can actually see in here, even though I printed this to PDF, it still puts some hyperlinks. And it's giving a mail to hyperlink with this just gibberish email address. That's another indication that there's probably something wrong with this. Coming down here, it has all this stuff that you would expect to see at the bottom of a legitimate email, all the footer stuff here. It even says for questions, you can contact them directly here. If you're going to contact a company that you're trying to figure out as a scam or not, don't call the number that they give you in the scan email, look up an actual number, but I would only do it if you even knew who Summit Pay was. If you have never heard of Summit Pay and you weren't expecting a 1099, then I would just ignore this altogether and not worry about it. And it's going to have all the stuff down here that makes it look legitimate, but I have a feeling the unsubscribe button probably wouldn't do anything. This is all just filler stuff that's meant to be scams. Now, what if this client is supposed to get a 1099 from this? And what if, I don't know, for whatever reason, Summit Pay is legitimate and they're just really misunderstanding how this is supposed to work and they're sending out weird emails? If you were really worried about it, you could call. You can go and see who should I have gotten a 1099 from? Maybe what they're trying to say here is in order for us to give you the 1099, you have to sign to get it submitted to you. That also doesn't make sense. Know that for 1099s, the companies report those to the IRS and then they issue it to you. And if you create an account on the IRS website, you can actually see a transcript of everything that was reported to the IRS on your behalf. And so you could see this 1099 NEC if there was actually one reported to you. So some things that I look for is just unsolicited requests for information, things that don't make sense based on the timing of when you should receive them, email addresses or company names that you don't recognize. In this specific situation, the client said, "Hey, Seth, I got this and I don't have no idea what this is. I've never heard of this." Obviously, alarm bells are going off. I'm checking email addresses. I'm seeing that this doesn't match that. I'm seeing these references to IRS regulations that don't exist. And there's tons of links that I don't agree with. And DocuSigns, whenever you get an actual DocuSign, the button isn't this specific. Review and sign 1099 NEC now. The button usually just says like sign here or start signing or something like that. So be on the lookout for things that you don't expect to be in an email. And if you ever have questions about something that you don't know is a scam, make sure to trust your gut and look into it. The point is, be vigilant whenever you're getting emails that don't give you the feel goods. If you're just worried or nervous, call the company or email the company directly without using the number or email address that they gave you in the email. Never, ever click a link in an email that you weren't expecting to get and it's not from somebody that you trust. Check the email address and look for weird typos or spaces or numbers that you wouldn't expect to see. And if ever you're not sure, if you work with a CPA and you get something tax related, reach out to them first before opening anything. This is one of the reasons why we are so adamant about data security. We will never, ever email you a copy of a tax return or ask you to email us a copy of your tax return. We use a secure portal, and yes, sometimes it is a pain to have to put in the code and get the password and all that stuff. But your data is so important, and your data security is so important because if someone gets a hold of your tax return, they can totally steal your identity. They can access bank account information. We don't want that to happen. I have seen situations where CPA firms were just emailing tax returns to clients or asking clients to email tax returns to them. I've had other CPA firms ask me to email them tax returns for mutual clients that we're working on, and that should never, ever be the case. So anytime I'm asked to send information to someone or to upload information, I always ask for a secure portal to do so. And if the person you're working with does not have a secure portal or a secure way to send you or receive information that has sensitive information on it, then I would highly suggest looking for another provider for whatever it is. Stay safe out there. People are working really hard to try and steal your money and steal your identity. So hopefully this is helpful, and I will see you next time.